You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 138 of The Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. And this morning, as I was typing that out, I realized that I probably had the wrong episode numbers all week long. Yay me. All right. I know. I'm a hot mess. Today, recording day is Friday, June 9th, 2023. And it's going to be a bit of everything day here at the Beaver Lodge. I'm looking at the Weather Network, and we're going to get some cloudy with showers, and then cloudy with sunny breaks, and then mainly cloudy, and then more cloudy with showers, and then chance of shower, and then a mix of sun and clouds, then partly cloudy, then fog patches. All in the next 24 hours.
So that's a little bit of everything.
It's going to be Mother Nature's busy today.
A little bit, yeah.
And we've just gone from rain. I've just seen the sun coming out right now from behind a cloud. With me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly, and I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, or pronouns Baron Beaver. All right. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors. It's an inside joke, kids. The Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We have a special Friday morning beaver bite for you. Let's do the most important thing that we always do, which is say hello to you, Mr. Grizzly, and ask how your mental health is doing. And I see you are sporting a new facial do.
Good morning, Mr. Beaver. The mental health, yeah, I'm good. I think I'm pretty
I would
good.
have to say that'd have to be pretty good if you're sporting that and smiling. It must be in a good place.
Well, I don't know. I can't take myself. Every time I look at the monitor and the camera, I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Oh, my God. It's like, oh, Grizzly, what have you done?
And see, I'll wax it up really well. I just haven't done that yet because I was busy. But you should see once it's fully waxed. I got a photo. I'll post the photo in a minute. You got to see it when it's fully waxed. It's like, holy crap. It's something else. Let me tell you.
Oh my God. Oh my. Yeah, yeah, Kit Pete going there. Paul is looking so different. And he's loving the mic branding. I think he might be a little biased there.
A little bit, maybe. Yeah.
For those who are not in the know, Kit Pete, who is from down under, very
I'm sorry.
generously
Oh,
designed
I will.
all of our visual collaterals. So, yeah, he's a really great guy. Thank you so much, my friend, and it's lovely to see you this morning. All right. In the headlines, I guess if you've been living under a rock, you haven't heard that for the first time in history, a former US president has been, well, not has yet been, but will be criminally indicted at the federal level. Now, he already is the first former president to be criminally indicted at the state level. Oh my.
Right. It was braided last night. She,
Yep.
that's Bridget's hand, not mine. She insisted on making me look like a Viking.
I like that. So yeah. The Orange Menace, Mango Madness, the Tangerine Tornado. Um, wow. The Tangelo Mangelo. He is going to be indicted.
Again?
Yes, it seems so. It seems that we need to mark our calendars for Miami. Sorry, no, Miami. Wait a minute. This is like, okay. Picture it. Miami, 2023. A former Orange president is going down to Florida and at around 3 p.m. is going to be indicted with 7 charges, at least. So, Merry Indictmus. Um, wow. And not any charges, my friend, it seems. And now, again, nothing has been publicly released about the details of the indictment. And I'm guessing it's going to be the same thing for the New York case. They are going to wait until he's actually in the courtroom to unseal it. But again, people close to the case, as they say. Um, 7 charges, including 1 under the Espionage Act. That's going to be wonderful.
Oh, that's a greasy one, that one.
That's a greasy one because you see, when we were worried about whether or not they were top secret or just classified documents, that was one thing. But it seems that some of the documents are not just government documents, but military documents. And when the documents you have happen to be military documents, well, their classification really just doesn't matter. It becomes totally irrelevant. That's a whole separate crime with a maximum of 20 years.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's national defense documents now, not top secret documents. And that changes everything.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you've been hearing over the last couple of days, well, lordy, there are tapes. Because it seems that, well, the word on the tweet is that the prosecutor, Jack Smith, got his hands on some recordings of Ronald Trump holding a document in his hand that he was sort of waving in front of certain people, saying, I'd really like to show you what's on this, but I can't because it's classified.
That. Okay.
Oops. So he knows they were classified, and he did not declassify all of them with his mind. Magically. Yeah, he's in deep doo-doo. Along with those 7 charges, well, included among those 7 charges, I should say, making false statements, Like, for example, having those boxes signed and saying, yeah, that's everything that there is here. We found everything and we've sent everything to you. Oh, could you move those boxes somewhere else? And apparently there's some of that on video camera. And there are people that were at a briefing about what to do with the boxes the day before they came or something like that. And, well, you know, you can't run
Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago without staff. And, well, people talk.
So
All the
he's
other people who
going.
were in the room when it happened.
He's going to go to jail.
Yeah, let's see what else might be in there. Making false statements, destruction or falsification of records. Like, for example, submitting a record saying that you've submitted everything when you haven't. Maybe conspiracy to obstruct, like, for example, telling people where the boxes should go if the phone should ring or something.
Mm,
Um, willful retention of documents. The federal officials have been trying to get them back for over a year before they.
yeah.
It's not the same thing as like when Mike Pence, who was cleared this week, said, "Oh well, this stuff is going on. Yeah. Can somebody do a sweep of my place? Oh yeah, it turns out I have some documents. FBI, will you please come in my house and check to see if there are any more because I don't want any of this stuff." As opposed to they're mine.
Mine. Mine. Mine. Mine. Mine.
But
Mine.
otherwise, these situations are totally exactly the same.
Completely. Yeah, identical.
Now, of course, uh, Ronald Rump Roast is press play. So I'm an innocent man. I'm an innocent person.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
I was always the world's most obviously least innocent person. Would say. Now, the Department of Justice, of course, has yet to confirm any of this news because, well, I mean, it's Merrick Garland. He's doing
Yeah.
everything by the letter. Infuriatingly slow, but by the letter. Every I is dotted. This man is meticulous. Every I is dotted, every T is crossed because every single time Frump Face has taken something to court, he's pretty much failed. Except for that one judge, Eileen Cannon, who really tried to give him his way until like the rest of the court said, "You're giving us a bad name. You need to stop this, and we're reversing your decisions." Oh man. And then what else about this? So yes, they'll appear in court in Miami next week, Tuesday around 3 p.m. The documents are still under seal. Let's see. What else do we have there? Of course, he's complaining that they're coming after me now because I'm in the polls. But I mean, this whole process started of investigation way before you had
This
actually
is not new.
declared. So it has nothing to do with that. And things are also not going well for him because Mark Meadows, who I believe was his former chief of staff, was seen coming out of talking to the grand jury. And there
Well,
are people around him who are saying that he's committed to telling the truth where he has a legal obligation to do so. Because you see, as Frump faces chief of staff, if Frump did anything, then, well, he probably did it too. So, it's just. and
it's all just so funny.
then there's about a dozen Secret Service agents who are reported to have testified, and well, I'm sure that at least one or two of them were a little forthcoming, considering that maybe they like their jobs and would love to keep their security clearances. Because when you're asked to testify before a grand jury and you say, "No, I'd rather not," please, that might affect your job.
A little bit.
Maybe. And then, of course, there's, like we mentioned, all the help. Right? The staffers that are there taking notes on everything, people that are taking pictures for archives, people that were cleaning the rooms at Maranago, the bellhops, kitchen staff. And I mean, this Jack Smith guy, remember, used to work at like like International Criminal Court or something of that level. So
Is that what it was? Yeah.
yeah, at the ICC or something, or the International Court of Justice, but like one of those really high level war crimey type thingies.
Yeah, it's all bad is what
So,
it
you know,
is.
he's kind of meticulous.
A little
He's
bit.
kind of dealt with way worse.
You could say that.
Oh man, he is gone far. And here's the thing, right? Curiously, all the GOP people running in the
All
nomination
of them.
race, right? Who, right? The number one rule, right, Napoleon: never interrupt an opponent while they're imploding.
Let them do their thing.
Right? A lot of people feel the need to come in and try to give that person the extra push, and then that's at the moment where the bomb goes boom and you get caught with the blast. So just like stand back and let it happen. Well, not only are they not standing back and letting not only are they not coming in to give them a push, probably Chris Christie being the exception there. It's like, oh yeah, you coughed on me. Here you go, bitch. Whoops. It's my hand slip. Stick his foot out. Have a nice trip. But other than he, you got these people who are, you have Mike Pence, who basically announced his candidacy and tore a strip off Trump, actually being the most vocal that he's ever been so far, stating, you know, something like, any man who puts himself above the Constitution should never be president of the United States, and any man who asks someone to put him above the Constitution should never be the president again.
You sounded
I
like
think
Nixon.
Yeah.
You were doing Nixon voice. I like it.
Yeah, a little bit Nixon voice, because Mike Pence has that, like that. What's it? I really mean this is so earnest thing like this, and then he's saying the worst possible crap. But
Oh
in
yeah.
that really like calm and like just like I'm motivated by everything holy type thing, right? And that like that look that thing he does with his eyes, like I really believe, you know. So he's willing to say that, and he's testifying, and he's still publicly saying, "But I don't think Trump should be charged for this." I'm guessing that these are the documents thing specifically, because, and not all the other stuff, because he likes to be very specific about things and compartmentalized. But well, like those tax things wasn't enough, and well, these documents, no, he shouldn't be charged. Oh, what do you think he should be charged with? Oh no, wait a minute. Yes, he hopes that Trump has a moment with his God, and then
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
right,
it's not happening.
like there's other statements, right? It's like, you know, well, God will take care of that. It's like, yeah, okay, you trust God, but what we want a judge, please, if you don't mind, really, if it's okay by you, Pensy. So yeah, this is getting good. can I have popcorn, please? Extra butter. Yeah, thanks. Oh, and that, yeah, the tub. No, the big one, 72 ounce. Yeah, I'm gonna just swim. Yeah, thanks. Oh man, wow. It's you even have people like I never remember his last name. The new the CEO guy that entered, Vivek Rama, something, I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
Don't know.
I've never heard of him before, and I don't
That
think he has
guy
much
from the
chance.
place with the thing at the time? I'd
Yeah,
never been to Belize before.
yeah, you know the guy. No, that's the guy with the hair.
Oh, sometimes wears a shirt. That guy?
That guy, yeah. You know, with the breath.
And the
um,
breathing and the things that you do on a daily basis because you have to. Sometimes has a glass of water. That fella, that's the
oh,
guy.
yeah. That's like going to the gay bar and saying, I'm going to be the guy with the goatee and leather and the shaved head.
So you're the lead singer of Judas Priest.
Ah. I'm going to have to be a little more specific.
Screaming for vengeance. Rob
Yeah.
Halford is his name.
Yes. Yes.
That's a pretty
Metal
good
guy.
description now. Oh, you look for me in the corner. I'm the guy with the shaved head, the goatee, the leather jacket at the gay bar. Oh, yeah, that guy. There's like 30 of them in that one corner, right? Right? Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't. You're looking for the boy with your dreams because the same boy with the dreams that all your friends.
Yeah.
Look for leather and leather or leather or jeans.
I have a motorcycle jacket. Should I put it on with this? I was tempted to wear
Oh
it to
my
work
gosh.
yesterday.
Have you ever seen Grease 2?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So bad
Be a
it's good.
cool rider, a cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool, cool rider. What a
Or,
terrible movie.
who's that guy on that motorcycle? What would you say if they knew it was Michael?
Maxwell Caulfield, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was the first Michelle Pfeiffer film I remember.
Yep. Yep. She says she regrets it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't, like, you know what? I loved Grease so much that when Grease two came out, no matter how bad it was, I was gonna love it. And I was still a
Yeah.
teenager, right?
Let's do
Now
it
it's
for our country.
really, I know it's terrible. Now the opening was great. Back to School rocked, but then the movie kind of went down from there.
So, there's a new series on,
Yes,
is it Disney or Apple? I
I'm
can't
not sure which
remember.
one, but
It's
the
one
Pink
of
Ladies thing,
the
right?
Pink Ladies, yeah. So, I started to watch it because I was curious. It's I'm not clearly not the target audience, but to be honest with you, it didn't land with me. I might have been in an odd mood that day.
Hmm.
I mean, still, look, the original film, as cheeseball as it is, I still enjoy from time to time.
Hmm.
The second one, I haven't watched it in over 35 years, at least 35
It's
years.
bad. It's
It
bad,
is terrible. It really is.
and
And
still I love
yeah, no, I get it. It had a few moments, and I remember I'd never seen the film. Then somebody loaned it to me on tape, and a couple of guys came over and we watched it, and we were just blown away by Michelle Pfeiffer, how unbelievably breathtakingly beautiful she was
it.
in that
Yes,
film. I
yes,
remember there's one scene where she's singing or something, and everybody just sort of stops and looks at one another like, "Oh
yeah.
my
The
god,
Calendar Girls thing.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can't take my eyes off her."
yeah.
Well, anyway, I tried to watch this Pink Ladies, and maybe I'll give it another go, but it did not land with me, and I don't know. I think it was because it was too cheesy.
Was
Think
it?
of it.
Is it Legally Blondish?
No, it's more like Glee.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like they break out into song every 3 minutes.
Oh my, okay.
It was too much for me. The opening sequence was good. I liked it, and then I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm,
I'll try it again, but I don't think it's for me. I mean,
hmm.
I'm obviously again not the target
Yeah,
audience, but that's neither here nor there, right?
right.
You can still watch something and enjoy it, even though
Oh,
it wasn't
absolutely.
made or meant for you. It's like I am gonna watch the live action Little Mermaid, because hey,
Oh yeah,
Haley Berry is so talented, unbelievably talented, and I'm so happy for her.
yeah,
But it's not made for me
yeah.
at all.
But no, is it Haley Bailey or Halle Bailey?
Haley Berry,
Haley.
like Halle Berry, Haley Berry, Haley Berry.
Okay. I'm, I am not up on. All right.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. No, it's
That's what
Harry.
I was
No,
wondering because I
Halle
was
Bailey.
Halle
Halle
Bailey.
Bailey.
Yes, that's
I I was mixing them up. Haley Berry, Halle
yeah.
Berry,
Because I was
Halle
because that was
Bailey.
the thing. Because me too. When I saw it the first time, I was thinking, no, the so it's the first name is similar but not, and then but the difference is Bailey
The
versus Berry.
surname, yeah.
Yeah.
Halle Bailey. Yes, thank you, Ree.
All right. So, yeah. So while the United States is offering Christmas, while the right is the Justice Department's offering Christmas, and then everybody in the United States is doing the whole blame Canada thing for the smoke, and we're getting some really interesting conspiracy theories, both about climate change and, gee, how do all these fires start all at once?
Yeah, the one in Quebec, they're like, look, they all started at the same time in a clear skies. It's like, no, you dipshit. If you look at the clouds were there and then they went over and then you see the smoke. And they're like, look how close together they are. They're not close. They're hundreds of kilometers apart. You realize you're looking at it from space. Yeah, on a map, how far is it? Oh, it's only that far on the map. That's a 7.5 hour drive.
I know. I mean, it's like, man, you have to explain distance.
The amount it was
So we're basically
Kim.com.
explaining gravity all over again.
Kim.com tweeted out something like that yesterday. Look, here's the video proof. It's not proof of anything. It's not proof of anything. Look, I understand you want to believe that they're targeted Jewish space lasers because that fits into some weird, bizarre narrative, but it's not what it is. Dry situations, lightning strike, but it wasn't cloudy. I've seen lightning and not be cloudy.
I saw lightning from the winter for the first time.
Yeah, we had that a few times. Yeah.
Like,
As,
don't. Here's the thing, right? Canada, particularly people on the right, if you happen to be listening like this on the far right or on the fringe right, right? There's more than two reasons often for which things can happen. Yes, you'll have the morning bowl.
hello, you sexy beast. Coffee. Sorry.
That's okay. I forgot my point.
I might. Sorry. I might need a moment alone with my mug of coffee here.
Okay, yeah. Well, just not in front of the kids, though.
I'm not. No, jeez, dude. You were talking about people on the extreme right in Canada who believe in conspiracy theories when it comes to the forest fires and how they were started. Do you remember? Did I get you back on track, or did I?
Yeah, I remember that part. I don't remember what the point I was going to make, though. It was a good one.
Sorry, man. You know me, squirrel.
It was a good one. I promise you, kids, I was going somewhere.
And I did read about that. I read about that yesterday. That some of the Nova Scotia wildfires were started. Yeah, it was arson.
Yeah.
So, and I guess some of the ones in was it Alberta or Ontario, where or might have been Nova Scotia, they were burning tires or something out in the
Yeah.
bush. Yeah, that's smart. Let's start a fire in the middle of the bush during the driest spring ever in history.
Yeah. And just all those other things, right? It was like, well, how are they so hard? Do we really need to explain what lack of rain does to what people call fuel?
No, I don't think our explanation is going to make any sense to them anyway, because it involves science and reality.
Like, you just, man, that's why I have a hard time believing that so many people just really like. We have one of the best public education systems in the world.
We need to do more work, obviously. I think not only that we need to do more work, but we need to enroll some adults into civics classes so they can understand a few basic things, and then we'll re-enroll them for remedial science and teach them about how vaccines work. It was like, who was it? I forget. Was it Jack Posobiec who said, "I have an idea. Here's how we can get rid of COVID. Why don't we
Yes.
inject micro dosages of COVID into the system till the body gets used to? Congratulations, you've invented a vaccination. You dumb."
It is important to know what came before purporting to be able to innovate for the future.
Some days I shake my head at this. It's like, how have we survived this long as a species? No, I sincerely am asking this question. How is it possible? Because there's a lot of really dumb human beings on this planet. And those people do two things. They vote sometimes and they propagate the species. and look, I'm not calling for eugenics, but
No, 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 no.
that's a joke, dude.
I know, but no,
That's why I
no,
said I'm not calling for eugenics.
no.
But on paper, some days it doesn't look like a bad idea.
Oh, man.
That's a joke, people. It's a
I know we're
joke.
gonna get dinged again.
Well, for what? I didn't call for it. I'm against the idea behind it, and maybe we should
I
just
know, but
change the subject altogether before somebody finds problem with everything that I think or say or do. And once we get our YouTube back, maybe I'll just sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, and something. Because if I say anything controversial, somebody will get pissed off somewhere and try and shut me down for it. Because freedom of expression and all.
just slid that one right in there, did you?
Not bad. Not bad. I'm
Not
getting pretty
bad,
good at
not
this.
bad, not bad. Good save.
Thank you.
Well, you were a goaltender.
Pardon? I was a
You are a
goaltender.
goalie.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. I
good
am
save, good
still.
save.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, More news. Nav Persum, who's the Canada Research Chair in Health Justice and a physician at St. Mike's Hospital, um, commenting, I'm not sure if he was part of the study, but there's a new study that suggests that since one way or another, people who need certain medications have to go and get them, the fact that the process isn't always fast, easy, or affordable comes with costs
Mm.
that could make National Pharmacare much more attractive as a program. He is stated as saying, I was surprised by the magnitude of the savings of around $1,000 per patient per year. It's
Wow.
actually could be more than
That's a
that.
lot.
Yeah, the latest findings reveal that covering the costs of those drugs may mitigate healthcare spending. Researchers followed nearly 750 patients in Ontario over 3 years, and for half of them, well, they covered their costs of their medications as usual, while the other half were given free of charge nearly 200 commonly prescribed medicines.
Wow.
Um, they tracked afterwards their spending on appointments with doctors, specialists, emergency room visits, and hospitalizations. And by supplying that group with all the medications that they would need, among that list of 200 commonly prescribed medications, they reduced healthcare spending by nearly $1,500 per patient. Quote, putting it all together, it seems like eliminating medications costs both saves money in avoided hospitalizations, avoided ER visits, makes people healthier, and addresses health inequities. It makes access to health more fair, said Persum. Canada is the only nation with a public healthcare service that does not have universal drug coverage. And about 1/4 of Canadians are struggling to pay for medications at the moment. Hello! How lovely to see you.
You guys will get to meet tomorrow.
I know, I'm so excited. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. My sweetie's not going to be here, though. He's going to
Oh.
visit some family in Toronto. They have some things to do.
Well, she'll be disappointed
Yes, yes.
because she was looking forward to meeting him.
Yeah. And
Alex.
our niece is having her first ever piano recital as well.
Oh, okay.
So, which is a big moment.
I'm sorry? Oh. She's like, oh, I'm not going if Alex isn't there.
Hey.
That's a joke.
You're breaking my heart. You're breaking my heart. So yeah, all of a sudden, the case for Pharmacare becomes a little more attractive.
Yes.
It's $1,500 per person, and these are for commonly prescribed medications like blood pressure,
Mm-hmm.
right? I can't think of any right off the top of my head, unfortunately.
It's just blood pressure and probably some. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Here's the thing, though. It's like
Penicillins, I'm guessing, when you
people
can
be able to take their medication regularly, so their health will improve. Guess what? Their health improves. That less hospital, less doctor visits. Guess what that means, conservatives? We save money.
I'm guessing some mental health medications are in there too. So
Oh,
because a lot of people are cutting their doses in half, which is not good.
well, what about insulin? Insulin is capped
Insulin.
for pricing in Canada, isn't it?
I believe so. Well, everything is in Canada is because we
Yes,
have
yeah.
a patented medical prices review board that keeps
Right.
prices lower than the United States. But after that, I don't know if there's a specific cap for
Well, if
insulin.
there's anybody in the chat who can let us know, I have no idea what insulin costs. I haven't got a clue. I know in the U.S. it can be like anywhere from $750 to $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
And this is a medication that if you don't have it, you're going to die.
Mm.
A long, slow death, unpleasant at that.
Mm.
But anyway, it's insidious that a medication that was the patent was sold to the University of Toronto for $1 because they said this belongs to the world. We don't want to make money off of it. We just want to save lives, and companies are gouging people because they can.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Pete asks, you guys, do you have a PBS? Do you? Um, Not exactly. Well, TV Ontario provincially
Yeah,
is like a
yeah,
PBS, but nationally we don't have a PBS. We have a bit more like a BBC.
yeah. The CBC, BBC sort of.
Yeah, because PBS is all publicly funded except I think like 1% or 3% of their budget
Yeah,
or something.
they do get a section of their budget from the U.S. government because it was if you can search it out and find um, Congress testimony from Mr. Rogers
Yeah.
testifying in Congress about why it's important that it's funded, and the congressman he spoke to. Oh, it's sorry, I get emotional thinking about it. If you
Mm.
watch his testimony, the congressman was like, "Well, you know what? That is wonderful. We're going to fund it. We're going to fund it," because he was so convincing in how
Mm.
you can help young hearts and minds. And anyway, we can't show you the clip, but you can find it on YouTube, and it is stirring.
Mm. Oh, and then we have Kit Saucy. Insulin isn't the expensive part in Canada, but the test strips cost 150 or more a month.
And that's a lot of money if you're on a fixed income, or I
Yeah.
mean, look,
Kit Linda has Linda M says my brother-in-law in the U.S. has to pay $1,200 for his insulin every month.
that's insane. That's insanity.
Yep, and as Kit Saucy says again, that's what we say. But you see, conservatives don't want to save money; they just want it to take the long way around into their pockets, always
It's
inserting the middleman.
so
Always inserting a middleman.
$35 a vial for insulin in Canada.
Yeah. So I guess that's what the United States is trying to do, something like we have here then for that.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Since we're talking health as well, a Senate committee is calling for substantive changes to the national suicide strategy due to a new study published in the Canadian Journal of Psychiatry that shows that 18 years of data from the Canadian Vital Statistics database showed that there was a spike in suicide deaths for girls between the ages of 10 to 14, reaching twice the rate for boys by
Wow.
2018. Numbers for 2019 and 2020 are showing a decrease in such deaths, but there are no more recent numbers at the moment that are available. Dr. Rachel Mitchell, who's the lead author of the report, says that there are many factors, such as the teenage years being pretty much of a roller coaster, and that girls are reaching puberty at an earlier age now than they used to. She adds about the impacts of social media, saying you see what is happening around you right there at your fingertips, how your friends, how your peers are living their life, and you reference it to your own, and you can't escape it.
Mm.
So, yeah, good to see that the Senate is doing what the Senate is supposed to do there. Because every now and then, a lot of us wonder, what purpose does the Senate have? And while they do review bills and make sure they're consistent with other law and make sure that they are constitutional and that the content of the bill actually does what the mandate of the bill is supposed to be. That's one of these things in Canada, fortunately, that the bill actually has to do what it says it does. But they do things like this as well. right? They study things, and sometimes things that Parliament won't study because it's a little touchy or sensitive or not popular, or can make it not look good in the polls, or you just need what is supposed to be a more august and solemn committee. So when you're looking at things like medical assistance in death, um, mental health, I think it was the Kenny report, I believe, um, several years ago, that really caught the nation's attention. That's something that started in the Senate, and this is as well. Senate leading the charge, and I think the Senate has been more seized with the national suicide strategy over the past decade than the House of Commons has been as well. Because I know that the previous government didn't want to do anything at all about it, at all. Didn't want to have one. So yeah, it's really important. It's really important, and I'm glad that the Senate is showing some value for money here and taking on this work. So there we go. A little bit of a wildfire update. The largest fire in Nova Scotia history is not out, but officials are saying that it is being held. Um, Over 6,000 people had been evacuated in Sherburne County. This and sorry, excuse me, I got something in my throat.
That happens sometimes, unfortunately.
There we go. Sorry, apologies for that. You asked about what was going on in Alberta, and I hadn't heard anything, so I went back and listened to some older news to see if there was anything. Apparently, the state of emergency was lifted in Alberta 6 days ago. So there's that. Now, I don't know if, again, haven't heard anything really since then, so winds could have picked up, but that might be one of the reasons why we are hearing less about it, because the state of emergency has been lifted. So most of it might be, while things may not be out, they might be under control and they feel they have enough resources. So it's basically being knocked off the front page by other stories like Quebec, for example. The fires in Nova Scotia broke out on May 27th, and they've burned 235 square kilometers. Officials are saying it's not moving, but it's not under control. There are still about over 170 firefighters, 3 helicopters who are fighting it, and it's about 60 homes have been destroyed in total in that area.
Yeah, I know.
I know. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And we're getting close to the 3 million hectares from coast to coast to coast burned.
It's a
I
lot.
was hearing Bill Blair the other day mentioning, I think we're close to, when he was talking at that point, it was close to 2.75 million at that point. I know, like, we wouldn't be able to plant trees at the rate they're being destroyed.
No, God, no.
So
No.
I'm just thinking, like, when we're saying like this loop that starts to feed each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we have no rain, so we have drier land, which leads to more trees burning, which adds more to the
It's all bad.
atmosphere. And then we can't plant the trees as fast as that they're going, so we can't use them as carbon sinks. And it's just, I'm hardwired for optimism, and I worry what the world's going to be like by the time I'm 80.
Well, yeah. Who knows if there's going to be a world is the one thing, right? Like, I question.
There's not going to be much of a retirement, I'm feeling. If everything's burning and everything's hot and everything's flooding, and if you happen to be on that one little dot on the planet where none of that's hitting, where do you go?
Yeah.
It's just, geez, we're not on a good path.
And I don't have a solution.
No.
I have a million questions. Well, maybe not a million. How about several? How about several questions?
My number one is like, can we please be motivated by some sense of urgency, please?
I mean, I don't think that's I don't think it's that complicated now, is it? Like,
Man, isn't it obvious? And you still have these people like, not RuPaul, Rupa Subramania. I
yeah,
just call her not RuPaul because she's
don't get
just.
me started on her
But,
because I won't be kind. I won't be nice. I just
well, there's the one thing, the anti-pride thing that she did that just chapped my ass. But here's the other thing that she's doing about the wildfire, and this is what I want to put up, because I want you to show you just how deceptive these people are and how good they are at the deception. Okay. Quote, we're seeing more and more of these fires because of climate change. Data doesn't support this claim. There's a clear downward sloping trend in the number of fires according to the data from Natural Resources Canada. Right? So she's quoting
mhm.
Trudeau, and she's doing the pedantic thing now. More and more of these fires because of climate change. And yes, the number of wildfires have been going down slightly in general. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to scroll up and down while I'm doing that,
Right.
because it's a little dizzying. But the number, here we go, Mr. Grizzly. I'll pop it back up now.
There
And
we
I'm going to have
are.
to blow this up here.
Oh yes, yeah. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. The number of wildfires has decreased, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but the amount of area burned in wildfires has increased. Now, she's saying in another tweet that it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Then also, the number are fewer, but their intensity is way higher. Ask yourself, why is she very selectively choosing which parts of the story she's telling while hiding others? So there are fewer wildfires in all, but there are more destructive
Mm-hmm.
wildfires than they used to be. So when the prime minister is saying these kind of wildfires, he's talking about the ones currently going on, the destructive ones. Also, so she took the information from Natural Resources Canada. There's this article, How Wildfires Are Changing in Canada. There might be fewer wildfires than in recent decades, but they're getting worse. Right there. You don't even have to click the article. All you have to do is look up
Mm-hmm.
wildfires. She got that wrong deliberately.
Oh, well, I was going to say deliberately. That was intentional.
Deliberately. And here we go. Number of evacuations due to wildfires has increased,
Mm-hmm.
and the number of disastrous wildfires has increased over time.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's saying, well, there are not as many of them, so it can't possibly be climate change, while hiding all of that information. Very selectively cherry picking and making it look official. A longer time
Mm-hmm.
period, 1980 to 2020, makes it even more clear that there's a clear downward trend in the number of fires and hectares burned. Well, that third set of graphs that I had showed you showed that the number of hectares burned is actually up. So that one was just a straight up lie.
See, it needs to paint the narrative, and if it doesn't paint the narrative, that's it. They have to support their narrative no matter what. Lying to you is irrelevant to them. If it if I can bend the facts to make it suit my narrative, I'll
Mhm.
do it. And
And
that's
here's the
not
other
me personally, but that's what they're doing, and that's what she's doing. And
and here's the other thing that she does here. She tells you to look at the 1980 to 2020 period for the number of hectares burned. This is the 1980 period, this bar here.
right.
Now, it is slightly increasing. So she's saying
Hmm.
that this is decreasing. So if you look at a longer period, okay, let's add another 20 years.
Hmm.
Let's go back to 1960 then.
So it is increasing, and it has been increasing the entire time.
It's been increasing since way down here. Which is like, what do they have here? 1950 to 1959.
Yeah.
So, I mean, selective truth-telling, selective fact picking,
Lying by
selective
omission.
retention, selective. She presents this as happy talk, and it can't possibly be kind of everything about that except the statement that the overall number, that was the one kernel of truth. Everything else was a lie. She went to the National Resources site, took the graphs, selected periods, and then while Canada's burning at the moment, to create the impression that, hey, it's not so bad and we don't need to do anything about climate change.
Well, I mean,
Are you
isn't she one of the climate deniers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Everything. They're good.
Oh, yeah.
When you're wondering how it is that decent people went to the same schools we went, again, they're good. They're good at this.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then they do that other thing, because when she put up that video about that place in LA where there was people that were protesting in favor, counter protesting in favor of the rainbow community, and then people came in and assaulted her. It's like, that whole thing was like written as an almost like, well, they brought it upon themselves. There's going to be more of this. Basically, the more you guys keep on insisting on drag story times and rights for kids, and UK kids being treated, decently and seeing themselves in books and being welcomed in their school, and this is going to keep happening. So the insinuation being, so why don't you just pipe down and keep it quiet and it'll stop? The beatings will continue until you stop.
Get back in your
Right.
place where I put you is basically what it boils down to, right?
Yeah. That's basically. These are not nice people.
No. They're ill-intentioned.
And then when somebody called her out on that, called her an asshole, she goes, oh, yeah, see, there's that love you all talk about. It was like, here's me posting a picture of people getting beaten up, and me basically saying, well, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you made them do this. Maybe you brought it upon yourselves. Maybe this is the only language you understand. Right? Gee, you're such a dick. Oh my God, how can you tell me I'm such a dick? You hurt my feelings.
So much tolerant left.
It's the set play.
Well, I'm not going to tolerate intolerance. So
It's the set play, but you had it too with Sue Ann Levy, right?
Yeah. That one was mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
She's like, you're promoting violence. I said, punch Nazis. Does that mean you support Nazis? How can you say that to me, a Jewish woman? What, lady? You got mad because I said we should punch Nazis, and you said I promote violence because I believe we should punch Nazis. And when I ask you if you support Nazis, you pull out your Jewish card. No. 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 No.
But it's a set play. Criticize me for sympathizing with the oppressors. Because, and if you're like anything but incredibly polite and demure about it, well, oh my God, you're such a hypocrite. Let me clutch my pearls. Which, of course, puts you on the back foot of having to defend your behavior, which takes you off the subject. And again, they win. Because now you're two pigs wrestling in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them likes it. And to onlookers, there's no difference between you two. You both look silly.
Yep.
That's the game.
Just
That's the game. If you're making a good point, they'll come in with something. They'll throw some bait and hope you bite at it. get you to defend your behavior, get to justify your behavior, get you to put you on the back foot by making an accusation that you did something wrong to them, demanding an apology, putting you a what about. You're talking about gender fair. You're talking about like equal rights for something. Well, what? It's like, well, so you support gender blockers for right? But that has nothing to do, right? So
They're connecting
and
things that have no dots that connect them is what they're doing.
but all of it is online strategy to stop you from discussing something when you're actually making a point and being effective. That's they don't want these free speech people don't want serious conversations to be happening.
What Tim says here in the chat that I've just posted on the screen is something that you and I have been talking about on this channel for quite some time.
Yeah.
Which is why we're trying to get the facts out there to as many people as possible and disseminate the headlines that oftentimes are misleading. People are busy and they don't have time to dive in. So that's why we want to disseminate it and put it up on a streaming service so you can watch it at your leisure and you can get facts and truth and honesty and reality. And look, sometimes reality bites. Remember that movie?
Mm-hmm. You gave me another 80s reference too.
But well, that one was 90s actually. Reality bites.
Reality bites. Okay, sorry. Well, you gave me another 80s reference, another Bananarama song, Love, Truth, and Honesty. You just
I don't remember that one, but hey, you know, it's trying to get to the heart of the matter and get the facts out there for people so they understand that look, it's a complex world and things are a lot more complex than you may realize. And then you have somebody like RuPaul Subramaya, whatever I don't know. I don't want to butcher her surname, so Rupa. I'll just call her Rupa. And I don't mean any harm,
yes.
even though she's tried to cause harm. I don't want to cause harm. She's misleading. Like last year, for example, when Canada Day festivities were moved to the lawn of the National War Museum, which is where the Blues Fest is held each year. She's like, oh, look, they said they can't hold it on the hill because there's construction taking place. And then she goes and takes a photo and says, look, there's construction right next door. I'm like, so I called her out. I go, lady, you are correct. There is construction next door. That is about 600 meters away from where the festivities are taking place. The construction on Parliament Hill is on Parliament Hill. You are lying by omitting facts. Yes, there is construction taking place there. There's been construction taking place there for over 20 years by the War Museum. But guess what? It's nowhere near where the festivities are being held. It would take supreme Herculean efforts to be in both places at once because they're so far apart. Whereas the construction on Parliament Hill is on Parliament Hill.
Right.
Just again, misleading. So I called her out on it. She didn't block me. I was surprised at that. I expected to get blocked right away for, denying her factually incorrect story with actual facts. But there you go. Leaving out things to paint the portrait that they want you to see. Here's the picture I want you to see. That's all it ever is with these folks.
Yeah, and then the motive seems very, very clear, right? I mean, if most of Canada is burning up to like closing in on 3 million hectares of land being burned, then, well, let's not blame that on climate change. Gee, I wonder why. Who's in your wallet?
Yeah. No kidding.
Kit Sassi says, just received notice that the evacuation order has been lifted for the Shelburne-Barrington areas.
They've restricted access, though, so local traffic on.
There you go. Okay, good news. Indeed.
Yeah. Goodness day.
Yeah, and you have Miss Sadeka. I agree. People will listen to all the conspiracies instead of the news or anything factual because they've been told it's fake. For example, I just finished reading about pregnant moms refusing medical care for themselves and their babies. Like, WTF?
Why? Like, why?
Yeah. Why? I don't. A lot of people just need to mind their own damn business. I was
Well,
having this discussion
certainly.
with someone. Somebody was asking, put up this thing. So, would you? Oh yeah, was it 2 pictures of Dylan Mulvaney for Pride? And said, is this a woman to you? I was like,
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
I'm like, unless this particular woman is playing a direct role in your life in any way,
Why do you care?
why would you care?
Why are you
Why would you
trying to
waste
police?
precious moments of your life wondering about that?
Well, because they're like, well, we have to. Oh, so you're a Gestapo? You're a fascist
Gatekeeper?
because you want to, control people's lives?
Gatekeeper?
Gatekeepers, gatekeeper, the hate keeper of the gatekeeper of the hate keepers.
Jeez, man.
Bring home powerful paychecks. What the fuck does that mean? How's your paycheck powerful? Please explain that to me.
It could leap tall buildings in a single bound.
That's his campaign. Bring it home. What are you bringing home? What are you bringing home? That's as stupid as get it done. That was Doug Ford's campaign last year. Get it done. Get what done, Doug? Selling off all of our public lands to private for-profit enterprises like Therm, which
Yep.
turns out the Ford government extended the deadline for the Ontario Place proposal 6 days before the original deadline. One of the submissions, of course, was Therm. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Even after Ford awarded them Ontario Place, Therm applied to redevelop a decommissioned power plant in Niagara. If they like that site, why not build there? The Ford government had no fairness monitor overseeing the bidding process, unheard of for an Ontario infrastructure process. Kinga Surma said it is cheaper to demolish the Science Center and build a new one. The cost? She doesn't know. Therm
What
hired
is
2
cheaper?
conservative lobbyists in September 2018, months before there was a public announcement of plans to redevelop Ontario Place. Were they tipped off? The original RFP said bidders would be responsible for parking. Now the Ford conservatives are offering a $450 million taxpayer-funded parking garage, not offered to other bidders. Therm is only 20 years old and was nearly bankrupt during the pandemic, but the Conservatives are offering them a 95-year lease on our public parkland. Ford refuses to disclose the terms of the lease. Early in the bid process, the Ford Conservative changed the regulation of the Environmental Assessment Act to exempt projects like Therm's. Yeah, the level of corruption here is staggering.
Holy crap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, excuse me, let me see if I understand this correctly. You've cut healthcare and education budgets, basically saying screw the poor. But we increased ODSP, the first government to do it in 25 years. You did. I'll give you that. You did. You increased it by $50, which is not going to do jack squat. But then he's going to pay for a $450 million parking structure for a private for-profit corporation that has got a 95-year lease on public lands. Most of the people that live anywhere near that area won't be able to afford to go to that place. The level of corruption is staggering. And I'm not surprised by it, but I'm still every now and then taken aback by it because they're doing it in our face. They're rubbing our noses in it is what they're
Right.
doing now. And they
Right.
don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't care. Not one bit. Look at what we're doing over here. Nothing you can do about it.
Nope.
Nothing you can do about it.
Nope. Nothing we can do for at least another 3 years.
We tried to urge people to get out and vote. 43% turnout in the last provincial election in the province of Ontario.
I know.
Look at what we got from it.
We did it to ourselves.
Nobody to blame but ourselves. And here's a really good Michael DeAdder political cartoon. This is a tree stump. It says, "You are entering the green belt." And there's a couple of children. And Doug Ford is leaning down, pointing to the tree stump. And look here, the very last ring is when I became Premier of Ontario.
Yep.
He doesn't give a shit.
Doesn't give a shit. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little more happy because I'm sure there's gonna be more crap.
Oh, of course there will be.
The President of the United States made a Pride announcement
Oh, he did?
in which he has appointed a new coordinator to address the book bans across the country, has committed money to safer resources to protect communities and supports for youth mental health initiatives. There are currently over 500 bills introduced this year in the United States alone at state levels to try and curb or reduce or restrict rights of LGBTQ
500.
people in the United States. President Biden said it's wrong when extreme officials are pushing hateful bills targeting transgender children, terrifying families, and criminalizing doctors, which are all things that are going on. Meanwhile, in Canada, Mr. Grizzly, our Prime Minister, along with Seamus O'Regan on the Hill, who is openly gay, once again raised the pride flag on the Hill. Now, not on the Peace Tower.
No. It's not on the Peace Tower. Settle down.
But just on the Hill. So, Mr. Grizzly, we do have some visuals and some words. So let's.
We're here today to raise once again the pride flag on Parliament Hill. This is something our government proudly did 7 years ago. And every time we do it, from the very first time to now and to all the years to come, we're lifting high our belief that no matter your sexual orientation, your gender identity, or your gender expression, you belong here. You have a voice here. You are respected and heard, and your existence isn't up for debate, not now, not ever.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all that needs to be said.
That's it. You don't need to say anything more than that. You really don't. It's like, that's it. Put a button on it. That's all there is.
Drop the mic right there.
And when people go, well, oh, shut up. Let people live and exist. They have the right to live and exist.
Yeah. Just let people be. It's really not hard. It's not hard at all. Never understood that.
Thank you.
Never understood people who don't want to mind their own business. And then the Prime Minister did something that really caught my ear. I would say, and my eye, Mr. Grizzly. The Prime Minister has a very, very professional veneer.
Yes.
When he's talking. Believes in doing the job well, believes in presenting a professional face, which gets a lot of people upset at him. They think he's being fake or just a typical politician or all that kind of stuff. Or I don't like the way he talks. I wish he would just say stuff, rather than pussyfooting around. And Merry Christmas. Here we go.
Mr. Speaker, I've answered that question a dozen times. And for the Leader of the Opposition to consider that the forest fires that are taking people from their communities and destroying their homes are a mere distraction and not top of mind for people from coast to coast to coast is shameful. But the fact of the matter is he doesn't have anything to say about that because he refuses to put forward any real plan to fight against climate change, and he does nothing but fight against our plan to fight climate change. If he has a better plan, let him say it, because we've been waiting a long time for it. But he has no plan to fight climate change. He still questions whether it exists while Canada is burning.
Ooh, spicy Trudeau.
Did you see that face? Let me go back.
Yeah. He's pissed off. He let the veneer slip. He's angry.
More of this. Please.
Oh, yeah.
This is the guy.
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's the guy. That's what people forget. That's the guy that's under there. That veneer. That's the guy that got in the ring with Brazo.
Yeah.
That's the guy that ordered way too much COVID vaccine at first, which ended up being a good thing because supply lines got disrupted.
Yeah.
Who ordered it from Europe and not the United States, which was a good thing because then Trump tried to screw us on masks.
You remember who his father was, right? Just watch me. Just watch me. Look, whether you liked, loved, loathed, hated, despised, appreciated, or respected Pierre Trudeau, everybody knew he was the man in charge. Justin needs to do more of what he just did. Remind people who's in charge. Remind people who the boss is. And you can hate him too. But I think you should respect his office at the very least. The amount of hate that gets thrown at him, and I honestly, I've asked, like, I know more and more people who are just tired of him, and I get it, leader fatigue, right? It happens. It happens. I didn't like him years ago. I didn't. That's the honest to goodness truth. I wanted Patrick Brazeau to kick his ass. I did. And I thought that's what was going to happen. He surprised me and he won me over. I've never voted for the man because we've discussed that.
Yes.
I can't vote for him, even if I want to. I don't live in his riding. Civics 101. We have 338 mini elections and we elect a parliament. We do not elect a prime minister. We have never elected a prime minister. We've always elected a parliament. If you do not live in the person's riding who you want to be prime minister, you cannot vote for that person. You have to vote for the member of parliament in your riding. That's it. That's all. Basic civics, right? I need to see more of the spicy Trudeau. I need to see that guy more often, getting pissed off, letting people know we're the man, we're the team, we're the people in charge. And we're not going to let this little snot-nosed punk Millhouse come to life, live action Millhouse. We're not going to let this little shit continue to piss all over our country, continue to piss all over our parliamentary system, the Westminster system of parliamentary democracy. He needs to have his parliamentary privilege suspended for some of the things he said in the House of Commons. That, like he's pushing it way beyond the limits of what parliamentary privilege was designed for. Making accusations of fires were started by your government. The leading thing the other day about the whole, why did he leave West Point Grey Academy? And then refuses to answer the question. Like, he is painting so far outside the lines and beat the living hell out of parliamentary privilege. And in doing so, it sets a terrible precedent that we'll let him to continue to get away with it. I want to see more spicy Trudeau because that's the leadership we need.
Yeah. I'm right with you. That's now we're talking about, was it Kitland? I wasn't impressed in 2015 because I felt like he was too practiced and I couldn't get a feel for the person he really was. That's changed since then as he lets more of his real self be seen, and he needs to do more of that. We completely agree. We completely agree. Back on, because there's so much crap on the LGBTQ file. We wanted to talk about this earlier in the week, but we just couldn't find a place to put it in. But there was an article in the CBC, and I had heard the story when I was curating some news. But there's a specter of conversion therapy feared at a summer camp aimed at teen boys in Nova Scotia. It's a, how would I put it?
I don't know.
Well, I'll just read from the article because it's really... When Vivian Myers-Jones read the description of a summer camp being offered to teenage boys, she was instantly reminded of her childhood and the expectation that she conformed to the traditional ideals of being male. Quote, "This was something I had very silently struggled with for 40 years of my life," said Myers-Jones, a transgender Hampton woman. When she heard that Caton's Island, a church-run summer camp in the St. John River near St. John, advertised a camp described as, quote, guiding boys to authentic manhood from confusion to clarity.
Oh, that sounds like conversion therapy.
She was upset. The language used in the ad worried Myers-Jones so much that she reported it to the RCMP with concerns that it had the hallmarks of conversion therapy, which is illegal. The RCMP were asked about the complaint, but spokesperson Corporal Hans Ouellet said the force doesn't usually confirm whether police are investigating, quote, unless charges have been laid in court. Those involved in the camp, which is also called Forged Camp, are not talking about their plans, of course,
Of
nor
course
about
not.
a since deleted social media post. People who have studied the controversial practice of conversion therapy say proving a crime has been committed will be difficult. And the post, Mr. Grizzly, was this one here, which I'm probably going to have to blow up again.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There we go. Forged Camp, guiding boys to authentic manhood from confusion to clarity. We will endeavor to guide the young men at this camp out of the cultural confusion regarding masculinity to a biblical clarity by using character studies from scripture, history, and modern times of real men who stood strong and made a positive difference. At the core of our
Hang on, let's just stop there for a second. I'm going to use the term that gets thrown about constantly here. That sounds like grooming to me.
Mm-hmm. But it's not grooming if you're doing it for God.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. At the core of our curriculum will be training that will teach valor and virtue things like courage, personal, family, and social responsibility, delaying gratification by sacrificing now for a greater reward later, and rejecting a life of passivity. Our mission is to help these young men develop core values, foster a responsible mindset, and cultivate a biblical character that will serve as their compass through life's challenges. Just sounds so wholesome. These lessons will be learned in an outdoor setting with adventure at the core and authentic masculinity as the expected outcome. Good men are necessary and needed.
Okay. I'm going to try and remain calm.
This is about as subtle as a sledgehammer to the forehead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no subtlety to that whatsoever. They're saying exactly what they want. They're going to get away with it. And there's nothing we can do. Oh, no, I lost a whisker.
So, person who reported it, Vivian Myers-Jones, said, I felt I had to report it at that point. It all looked way too familiar to me. I suffered on account of it, and I don't want to see anyone else suffer, especially the way I did. There has been no response for the Wesleyan Church, who operates Caton's Island. CBC News called and emailed the Caton's Island Camp director and the Wesleyan Church of Canada's head office in Sussex, but has not received a response. The New Brunswick Human Rights Commission was also asked about whether Forged Camp violates human rights, but a spokesperson declined to comment because the issue is the subject of a criminal complaint. Yeah. And while that's going on, also in New Brunswick, Premier Blaine Higgs, who has a majority, is threatening to call an election over Policy 713 because it seems that there is a caucus rebellion. 6 ministers and 2 backbenchers have denounced the lack of process and transparency, but they fell in line for the vote. So, he said he was willing to call an election over changes to Policy 713, which was designed to protect LGBTQ students, as he faced a rebellion from several of his top cabinet ministers on Thursday, according to CBC. 6 ministers and 2 backbench MLAs refused to attend the morning sitting of the legislature, quote, as a way to express our extreme disappointment in the lack of process and transparency, they said in a statement. But any chance of the government falling appeared to fizzle by mid-afternoon when all 8 returned to the House for a key vote.
Yeah.
Now, this is the policy, in case you don't remember, where the Premier of New Brunswick appears to believe that it is his responsibility to share personal information about students who are transgender or seem to be identifying as transgender in school, either by asking for different pronouns or asking for a different name, to be referred to as a different name. And he believes that this is the state's information to share with parents rather than the information of the citizen whom they are supposed to represent and whose rights they are supposed to defend, to tell their parents when they are good and ready.
Right.
The state is acting as if this information belongs to them, to either share or keep secret. It doesn't. It's none of their business, other than information they need to make the child feel more welcome at school, so that the child can get the best social development and best education, because that's the objective. But they somehow want to have that right, or think that the parents have a right to know. But it's not that the parents don't have a right to know if the parents have a right to know. Right? It's more than that. It's that it's the educational system's duty to inform the parents. Even if they had a right to know, let's assume they are correct on the parents have a right to know every single time, even if there are parents that would abuse these children or throw them out like this. They have a right to know. Is it your job to tell them? That's the other part of the question that matters. And it's not. Unless someone is a danger to themselves or to someone else, which is the standard rule for anything else, it is none of your business. Keep your nose out of it. Well, he doesn't want to do that. So the policy enacted in 2020 after consultations with stakeholders and experts established minimum standards for schools to ensure a safe, welcoming, and inclusive environment for LGBTQ students. And based on what they said was hundreds of complaints, which turned out to be only 3, one of them, which, as we mentioned, was somebody writing concerned that children were identifying as animals at school and actually relieving themselves in litter boxes. They
Never
took
happened.
this seriously and decided that they needed to have a review of this policy based on 3 complaints. Well, at least the only 3 complaints out of the 150 or so that they claim to have received that they were willing to share with the press after a Freedom of Information request. You'd think if you were going to pick 3 out of a pool of so many, you wouldn't share the one about children identifying as animals and relieving themselves in litter boxes. You would have 3 among
Never
them,
happened.
all of them that would sound somewhat reasonable and normal, or make an attempt to sound reasonable or normal, or genuinely concerned, if not misguided. Seems to me as a PR person, if that was my objective, I would take the 3 letters that are literally seem to be the most earnest and sincere.
Yeah.
If I was going to choose such a tiny sample out of a pool so large, allegedly, of complaints. Don't pee on my leg. Don't pee on my leg. There were not 150. We're over 100 complaints. So there's been rebellion. Now, this guy actually said he's willing to take this to an election. Of course, all political theater. But that kept the other 8 in line, right? Because they have a majority there. Well, that's a pretty sweet gig. So even the 8 that kind of protested when it came time to put their money where their mouth was, because they might go into an election and you might not get reelected. Well, then, okay, I guess we can review this then. Thanks, allies. Way to have our backs.
Was that a knife? Was that a knife?
More like not so much plunging the knife in, but oh yeah, that thing that I said I was gonna like put in the way of the knife while the other guy's punching. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I was gonna put a little barrier between the knife and your back, but that's I'm kind of nah. Sorry, something came up.
Yeah.
I had another priority. Somebody presented another priority, and I decided that you weren't that important. Making sure that the school environment that you go to is safe and welcoming for you was not as important to me as perhaps losing my seat in an election that a petulant premier was probably going to lose his seat. Anyway, if they went right now, would call. I do not know what it is, what obsession this premier has about this particular subject. But this is not healthy. And this is not normal. Jeez. It's incredible. And in addition to that, in New Brunswick, which has nothing to do with the Pride stuff, but a Green Party bill to ban shale gas development was due for a second reading debate in the mid-afternoon vote. And then that's when the PCs returned to defeat that bill. And, well, they had enough votes to defeat the legislation on the other one.
So, I'm gonna back it up for just a second here. We've got the one comment from Tim. Funny how we've never there are 0 pictures of the litter boxes, right? They'd have to be generously sized litter boxes, right? We've never seen any of them. That reminds me of the story of this woman who was on a date, and she went back to her date's apartment and went to use the toilet, and it got clogged, so she fished out her excrement and deposited in the cat litter box because the toilet wouldn't flush. And then her date went to her and said, "Did you take a dump in the cat litter box?" She's like, "No, that must have been your cat." He goes, "My cat died a week ago." So she had to call a cab and get out of there.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It's a phone call. Like it's I've heard the voice recording, and she's like, "I'm in the bathroom and I got to get out of here because I'm on the second floor and I want to crawl out the window." I couldn't stop laughing. And that reminds me of another story. I'm trying to lighten the load here a little bit, but that's hilarious. So
You said load.
many years ago, I did, didn't I? Many years ago, George Clooney, while he was, between acting jobs, before he picked up his gig on ER, he was, couch surfing. And a friend of his said, "Well, you can stay at my place as long as you want. Don't worry about it. I got plenty of food, lots of place to stay. Don't worry about it. I know you're between gigs. You're fine." So he said, "Okay." So every day, George, trying to help out a little bit extra, he was cleaning the cat litter box because, he's staying there. He's going to do what he can to help out where he could. And then one day, the owner of the home came to George and said, "Really worried about my cat." He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, Mr. Sniffles hasn't, used the litter box in a while." He goes, "Oh, I hadn't noticed." He goes, "Yeah, I'm a little worried about Mr. Sniffles because he may have constipation or something." So he went to the doctor, went to the vet, and got like kitty X-Lax, if you will, and put it in the cat's bowl. Of course, he went to work, and when he came home, nothing in the bowl. He was like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do." So George kept cleaning up the litter box and started to fish the kitty X-Lax out of the food because he didn't want the cat to be, any harm brought to the cat. So 3 days later, he says, "I decided I would save up and use the litter box as a toilet." So he's sitting in the living room and his buddy comes home and he's like, "Here, kitty, 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 kitty." "Oh my God, kitty!" You find a giant turd in the litter box.
That is an elaborate plan.
It really is a great prank. I mean, it's pretty brilliant. He
Oh,
told that story on the Tonight Show. I was laughing so hard I thought I was going to throw up. Kitty, kitty. Oh my God, kitty.
oh, shit.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man. Okay. A
There's your
rare.
morning. It's a good one. Write it down. Write it down. It's a good one.
Okay. True North Eager Beaver, where you come for all your best poop jokes. uh, also, New Brunswick news. Um, Irving Oil has
Uh-huh.
announced that it is reviewing and may consider restructuring or selling a portion or all of the company. Irving Oil is Canada's largest oil processor and one of the biggest employers in New Brunswick. It owns Canada's largest oil refinery, hundreds of gas stations, oil tankers, as well as the Midland Trucking Company and the Big Stop restaurant chain. And the company is saying that environmental and economic pressures over the past decade are at play. Someone's seeing the light.
Mhm.
We know where the future is going.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but that would be employment-wise and business-wise monumental news for that part of the nation. Because, I mean, growing up in Canada, I would assume that Irving Oil would have outlived me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was here before you came around, and I'll be here long after you're gone. And, well, maybe not. So that's all I know about that. I haven't been able to research more, but yeah, I just saw that and I thought, wow, that'll be some pretty big news. Um, I have a little bit of sports news if you would like, Mr. Grizzly.
I would like.
All right. Number one, um, unfortunately, Bianca Andreescu and Michael Venus, her partner from New Zealand, did not win the mixed doubles title yesterday. Incredibly entertaining match.
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous athleticism. Um, Bianca Andreescu was, I'm not sure what it is in kilometers because I guess it was an American feed, but returning serves from this guy named Tim Putz from Germany that were coming in at 131 miles an hour.
It's about 131 miles an hour. Holy shit.
She
Well,
was
100
returning,
miles an hour is 160K. So
yeah, she was returning them
that's
and often
that's
getting the better of them.
that's almost 200K. Pretty close.
It was seriously. I do not know why there's not more mixed doubles on TV. It is so interesting. Especially when men are hitting against women, women are hitting against men, and it's just like the men like try to blast through them, and the women have like that finesse and power, and like
You
these
said
balls that
100,
come and fall at their feet.
130.
131 miles per hour.
That's 210 kilometers, almost 211 kilometers an hour.
Yeah,
That's a
there are no women
monster
serving at
serve.
210
Oh,
kilometers an hour.
no.
No, she was returning them.
Wow.
It was insane. It was a really, really, really good match.
If you serve to me at that speed, I'm getting out of the way. I'm not even going to try. Yeah, you're going to win. You're just going to win. You're going to ace me the whole game because there's no way I'm standing in front of that.
Yeah.
No way. Nope, not even going to try.
Now,
Not even going to try.
there was one thing that was really good about this is that the opponents on the other side, there was Tim Putz from Germany, but this lady named Miyu Kato from Japan. And she's had a interesting French Open
Okay.
because in women's doubles, during the match at one point between points, she hit a ball back and the ball hit a ball girl
Ew,
pretty hard.
that happens.
Yeah. And now in tennis, the rules are, because it's happened to Denis Shapovalov once, if in anger or rage, whatnot, you take a ball, like the point's been called and you smack it back, and sometimes they smack into the net, but the ball goes the wrong way and hits an official or a line person or a ball kid, that's an instant disqualification. you lose the match. That happened at the Davis Cup, I think,
Mhm.
at once for Dead Chappelle, and he learned his lesson on that one. And he said that was like a big growth moment for him. I think we talked about it on the show, maybe even. Well, this was not out of rage or anything. It was just hit it back, and it went the wrong way, and the ball kid wasn't looking at the time, and it hit her, from what I can tell, somewhere around the throat.
Oh my.
She was crying, and the two opponents on the other side said, no, this should be a disqualification. And then some officials came and overruled the chair umpire, and not only did they disqualify her, but like completely from the tournament, taking away her prize money to date and ranking points,
Wow.
everything. Now, everybody reacted really strongly, so they didn't eliminate her from the mixed doubles. And I guess the tennis gods were smiling on her because she won mixed doubles. And I think it's only her second doubles title in her career.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This woman was the epitome of class at the awards ceremony. English not being her first language, wrote down a speech, apologized yet again because she had done it online to her partner in doubles, who obviously got eliminated in the tournament. She got to keep her ranking points and money, but didn't get to go as far. Apologized to the ball kid, apologized to the opponents that she played against, hoping that she would be able to play them again
How old?
one time and actually finish a match.
How old is she?
I think she's 26.
Okay.
And then she, after having done all of that, she still did this as well. And on the court, she actually went to the ball kid and apologized, and everything was okay. But then she actually did this afterwards, went to get her a gift.
Oh, cool.
Yes. I'm glad to hear that you are doing well and continue to volunteer as a ball girl. It makes me very happy to hear this. I hope you enjoyed the gift that I got you, and I look forward to seeing you again. Wishing you the very best.
Cool.
And she's been nothing but class throughout the whole thing. This is them holding the trophy.
I don't
They
see
won.
anything.
Yeah, sorry, it just disappeared there.
There we go.
There you go. So that's Tim. And he apparently is a perfect gentleman to her all week, offering her nothing but like all the love and the support.
Cool.
Because psychologically that could just get in your head.
Yeah, could destroy a person.
So apparently this guy has been like a total prince of a man throughout this whole thing to his partner. So you know what? I didn't feel bad against for Bianca losing because it was a great match.
Uh-huh.
And somebody that had something unfair done to them got smiled upon. So to me, that was an everybody wins situation. This morning, however, Taylor Townsend from the United States and Leila Annie Fernandez were playing together in the women's doubles semifinal against Jessica Pagula and Coco Gauff from the United States, who are probably one of the best double team. Well, who are one of the best doubles teams in the world. I think they were ranked third in the entire tournament, but they are powerhouses. Townsend and Fernandez have just, I think this is their fifth tournament together or eighth tournament together playing doubles, and they're one of the hottest tickets. They just gelled right away. Well, they won the first set 6-0 against one of the best double teams in the world and have been for a long time. And then the second set was much closer, but it was never, ever, ever really in doubt, and they won it 6-4. They are going to the final. So we will have had two Canadians playing for Grand Slams at one Grand Slam in the same year. Historical. Never heard of. And along that way, Gabrielle Dabrowski was a quarterfinalist in women's doubles and a semifinalist in the mixed doubles as well. So I do not what they've put in the water for our women tennis players when it comes to doubles. But holy camole. This is, so yeah, playing for Grand Slam final for the second time in her career, because she played for the final of the US Open 2 years ago and lost it to Emma Raducanu. But there she is. And in other news, we have an up-and-coming young man named Gabriel Diallo, who is playing at a warm-up tournament for Wimbledon and Surbiton. He is ranked 146th in the world. He played Daniel Evans from Great Britain, in Great Britain, who is ranked 25th in the world, and defeated him 7-5, 6-2.
Well, cool.
Keep an eye out for this guy. He's like something like 6'6".
He's an
Gabriel
up-and-comer.
Diallo guy. Up and comer. He's just been shooting up the ranks, like literally shooting up nonstop. Sort of like Milos Raonic did a few years ago, like within the space of 2 years was like nowhere.
And then boom.
Like it was like 800 one year, 300 one year, top 100 next year, top. Like, he's doing the exact same thing. So yeah, if he gets a good, if he wins this tournament, he would probably get a wild card entry directly into Wimbledon.
Oh, okay.
I would assume from the organizers, and if not, well, he's definitely going to be in the qualification draw. If not, so if he gets a favorable qualification draw, you might get to see him on TV for one of the first times in his career.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, good stuff. And we have the Canadian Open on the PGA Tour happening in Canada, somewhere just north of Toronto this year. I think it's called the Oakdale, if I'm not mistaken, golf club, but don't quote me on that one. And there, after round one, Corey Connors, who we've mentioned a few times on the show, is in first place after the first round, 5 under with 3 others. It's at the Oakdale Golf and Country Club. There are a total of 19 Canadians entered. And I remember being younger enough when we had the Canadian Open, and there were very few Canadians,
Almost none,
and everybody got cut after the first 2 rounds because we didn't have. Even Mike Weir has come back to play.
Oh, really?
On this one, yeah, because he plays usually on the Champions and the Seniors Tour, but he's come back for this one.
Cool.
So he's been part of the mix. There are total 19 Canadians, and the last Canadian to win the Canadian Open on Canadian soil goes back to 1954.
Wow.
Pat Fletcher. So go Canada,
Let's go.
Let's win it at home, because with the women we finally did it a few years ago to have a Canadian win on Canadian soil after a long drought. Let's hope.
Oh, I was just
Yes.
sorry. I thought you were done there for a second. I was going to say.
No, I'm not. I am.
Oh, okay. So Stanley Cup final, Vegas is up by 2 games, and Florida managed to pull off a win last night, 3-2.
Yeah, they had been down 12-4 in scoring after the first 2 games.
Yeah, and they managed to pull it off, 3-2 the final. So it's like the first 2 games I thought, whoa, where's the team that got there? Oh, I think they showed up last night. I expected this series to go 7 games, and I was hoping for a 7-game series. With a little bit of luck, we might just get that. And Panthers, again, a team that was not supposed to beat Boston, were down 3-0, came back and won the series in 4 straight. So they could pull this off, There's a part of me that, look, either team that wins is the first time they've won the Stanley Cup. So that's good for the game, right?
Right.
And it expands it into the Southeast and the Southwest. Good for the game. I'd love to see a Canadian team back in the mix someday and soon, especially my Canadian team, the Ottawa Senators. My team, like I own them or I play for them. I don't. It's neither one, but the team I cheer for. But there's a part of me that really wants Florida to win this because it's the ultimate underdog story.
I can see that. I like a good underdog
Florida
story.
and Nevada. It's Las Vegas Golden Knights. They're in Nevada, not California.
Yes. And another weird thing happened because we were talking golf a couple of seconds ago. The US-based PGA Tour and the Saudi-backed breakaway league Live Golf have agreed to merge.
Oh, interesting.
I did not see that coming, into a new for-profit company that will manage the commercial interests of the top-level golf. Because the Live one came out of nowhere, and then they drew certain people from the PGA by offering them tons of money. Of course, not everybody, sorry. One of the big knocks against the live one is that people are considering it as the Saudi royal family's way to whitewash themselves through sports. So the people that had stayed in the PGA
Mhm.
passed up big paychecks on a point of principle, only for them pretty much to be surprised because it seemed nobody saw it coming. Mike Weir was interviewed and said, I had no idea this was happening. Just landed on my doorstep. Who are now all all the people that didn't go and play on a point of principle, now that they're merging, were what?
Yeah. Throw your principal out the
now it's
window.
now it
It's been done for
well
you.
now it's but now it is the biggest golf tour
Yeah.
in town. The PGA was the biggest one, and then the Live came in with all that money, and now they're merging. So now it really is the biggest deal in town. So now, I guess Saudi operation successful and complete.
It certainly seems that way. It certainly seems that way. I mean, look.
But wow, that PGA really put up quite a fight there, right?
We can we can cite the human rights violations in Saudi and objectification and subjugation of women and all of that is true. But their money is everywhere, and there's nothing we can do about it. Their money is everywhere in everything all the time.
Yeah.
It's how it is. It's just how it is. You have to accept it because we still have to live in society, right?
Right. So the deal ends a year-long dispute between the rival groups and will establish the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund as the exclusive investor for the new yet-to-be-named company. The PGA Tour will hold a majority of the board seats, with Yasir Al Rumayyan, the wealth fund's governor, serving as the chairman, and current PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan expected to step up as chief executive officer. I really don't know what to think about this. Something tells me that this can't be good. And yet, like, another part, just like, dude, it's just sports,
Yeah,
right? But it's just, I don't
I
know.
know.
I know it seems they were just such bitter rivals, and for this to come out of the blue with no warning, no nothing, and it's like, yeah, we're friends now. We're actually getting married. It's like, but you were tearing each other's hair out like just 30 minutes ago. Yeah, but we went into the broom closet, and it turns out that we did it, and we had a lot of fun, so we're getting married. I don't know where you meet that. Have you had that situation where you have two friends, like you have two friends and you think that they're gonna like really get along, so you introduce them and it's like oil and water,
Yeah.
like right away, like this, and you're really uncomfortable like throughout the entire time, and then like a week later you find out they're dating. It's like, how the hell did that happen? You hated each other. It takes all kinds to make a world.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I'll be right back.
Absolutely. Mr. Grizzly just needs to take a little moment here, so I will find more stuff for you. Bank of Canada has increased its rate one more time, only a quarter of a basis point, and we are expected some Canadian labor market data today as well, which hopefully will give us some color and texture to what might be coming down the pike. But Canada did raise the rates, and it seems that there's talk that there might be one more somewhere coming this year, depending on the economy. Um, the Bank of Canada feels that because GDP growth is still pretty high and wage growth is still pretty high and the economy seems to be doing well overall, that they still need to put a little additional pressure. But I'm finding the move confusing, because when we reported that inflation, the overall core inflation went up 0.1% in April, even though food inflation and other stuff went down, and that the main reason for that inflation was the rise in mortgage and in rents. just seems to be that if raising the interest rates is now raising the cost of lodging, and that's the primary cause of an inflation rise, that you wouldn't want to raise rates because it makes mortgages and rents more expensive. So I'm a little confused as to what the motivation behind that there is. Real estate markets have bottomed out and rents are now catching up according to the latest economic data. And global commodity prices, particularly grains and food items, have come back down to pre-war levels. That's the war in Ukraine. But that's not yet reflected in the price on the shelf. Retail sales have eased up, but there's still strong spending on services. So within the economy, less being spent on retail, more is being spent on services from the Canadian public. The Bank of Canada is seized with the domestic inflation pressure it claims that is arising from wages and the resulting pressure of those wages on the service sector of the economy, where there is more demand for services at the moment. Okay, I wrote a quote, but I'm trying to remember who said this, and I do not remember. I did not note who said it, but somebody said, I'm so sorry, guys, I forgot to attribute the quote. I haven't heard an argument for a driver of inflation that isn't true from anyone from any party, and that's because there's such a long list of drivers contributing to inflation. It's not just one thing. The reason this is so challenging and why many Canadians are feeling up in arms about is because, and what many Canadians are feeling up in arms about is because there's been so much focus on the idea that wages are too hot. When you account for inflation, wages have only been rising in real terms, i.e., accounting for inflation for the past 2 months. Canadians do not feel like they've hit the jackpot. So wages have only been really rising for the past 2 months, while the Bank of Canada has been claiming that for the last year and a half as one of the reasons to be acting on this. Canadians do not feel like they've hit the jackpot. Canadians do not feel like they've suddenly got so much more money at their disposal. So this challenge of telling us we're hiking rates because everyone is making too much money and we've got to cure inflation, and if there's a recession, oh well. Well, no wonder we're hearing from some of the political parties starting to step in and have opinions about this, which is true. I find the move confusing. Now, the Bank of Canada governor has, not the governor, but the deputy governor of the bank has stated, when we look at the labor market in particular, we don't look at just the unemployment rate. We look at a whole set of things to try and figure out, does the labor market look balanced where it could be sustainable at that level without creating this extra pressure that just creates inflation. On the US side, their central bank has just announced that they will stop raising rates for a while. So this one sort of puts us back on par with the United States because we skipped a few and the United States went up one. So that will reduce the interest rate spread between the two nations, which will probably be okay for the dollar. On the other hand, which may reduce the price of purchasing things and counter the inflation on that. It's really complicated.
Sounds like
because you move one thing and it affects something else. But yeah, that's where we are at the moment, and we are hoping for labor statistics somewhat this morning. I don't know if they're out yet, but I believe that we pretty much have a show, Mr. Grizzly.
I think so, sir. I think so.
All right. So I will see if there's anything for the Easter egg, but I will send you off into the weekend, dear kitties, by saying that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we enjoy making this for you. We really do. Oh, and by the way, if kitties are wondering, opening night last night went really, really well.
That's good. That's good.
Really, really well. We had a nice big audience, and my beaver sweetie brought me flowers.
Aww.
And gave them to me on stage. And then brought me chocolate before the show as well.
Wow.
So, yeah. I got a good one. I'm really lucky. And I got cuddles too. So remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please let your peeps know about us. If you are looking for us, you can find us on the Crier Media Network, as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated because democracy is something that you do. Please donate to the Red Cross, but more importantly, for now, donate to Cornerstone Housing for Women.
Please. I put
And
it.
support Mr. Grizzly's Beard Initiative.
Put the link in the chat. If you can donate, we'd really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Let's see. What else have we got for you? Of course, please, if you want to speak to us, we do love hearing from you. Sorry, I have a itchy nose here. Reach us on our Facebook, True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True Eager, or by email at truenortheagerbeaver.gmail.com. And you can subscribe to us via our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. Why not subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? There's that squiggly if you're watching to get to our pod page. That helps us out big time. Yes, we are still shadow banned. Hopefully, we will be back with live shows on Monday on our YouTube channel. If you're looking for us elsewhere, we also have a new Vimeo channel. So if you'd like to subscribe to us there too, I'm not sure if Vimeo gets monetized at some point along the way.
No,
like YouTube
I
does.
have to pay for Vimeo.
Okay, then yeah, stick to our YouTube.
Yeah.
Then. We need the money. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, if you're watching, you can scan that QR code right by Mr. Grizzly's head. And I'm sorry that I'm tripping on my tongue a lot the last 5 minutes trying to end the show. And that will bring you to our emergency coffee, hot chocolate, Guinness, and Caesar fund. And if you're listening, well, then you go to coffee, that's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver to make your donation. And you do, like some wonderful kits have done, Kit Ina. I now know how to pronounce it properly because you told me, and I'm very, very, very grateful. And Kit Bo, who also made a donation yesterday. Thank you so very much for your generosity. We really, really appreciate it. I know that you had sent in some comments that I would hopefully wanted to read, but I do not have them up on my screen at the moment, and that makes it a little more difficult for me to do. But I do thank you very much for your support. It's very kind. Oh, there we go. Kit Aina said, "Thank you for doing this. Your interviews are amazing." And then my name is pronounced like Aina. Sorry, I pronounced it wrong. I just said Aina. But that's because one of the characters in my play is called Aida. So I'm saying a lot of AI words, A, and rather than I, but Aina. And Kit Bo said, "Here's a quickie from me. Your show keeps my sanity in check. Thank you so much. You're the bestest."
Thank you.
So thanks very much. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, "Kits, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourselves." Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom for the weekend?
You know, I just thought I would add this little tidbit in here. This will make sense. And sometimes I don't make sense, but this one will. Just look on your screen there and you can see what I've just posted. I'm done being an expert on vaccines. I'm now an expert on forest fires. Well, remember what Skippy said, the common people are the experts after all.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You want to live like the common people.
I like the William Shatner version.
Yes.
I really do.
Oh, Mr. Grizzly. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Grizzly, please roll them credits.
Okie dokie.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
I've got the data. It did come out. Statistics Canada says the unemployment rate ticked higher to 5.2% in May, making it the first increase since August 2022. Overall employment was little changed last month, and the economy lost a modest 17,000 jobs. So when you hear PP losing his mind, say, "Oh my God, we're losing jobs now," 17,000 jobs.
Still.
Meanwhile, wages continue to grow rapidly in May, rising by 5.1% compared to a year ago. Inflation is below that, so wages are rising faster than inflation at the moment, closing the gap a bit, which we need. So there you go.
Right.
And Mr. Grizzly, we see you this weekend.
Yes. Yeah. We'll be up tomorrow, probably arriving around noonish-ish.
Okay. I will be ready.
All right. We'll see you then.
All right. Yeah, I can't wait. Bye, kids.